This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
When our founders declared a new order of the ages, they were acting on an ancient hope that is meant to be fulfilled.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
After 1989, President Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order, new world order, new world order.
Lampe, Missouri was a place where I heard George Bush and Bill Clinton talking. Where, from the point of view I had, they certainly were friends, and they didn't recognize any party lines between them. That's something for the, a smoke and mirrors illusion for the public. It's not something they adhere to because they had exactly the same agenda, and that was for bringing in this new world order. I heard George Bush talking at that time. He was talking to Bill Clinton, and I've since photographically recorded it and wrote it verbatim in our book. That when the American people became disillusioned with Republicans leading them into the New World Order, that Bill Clinton, as a Democrat, was going to be put into the office of president. This was decided in 1984. Actually, I'd heard about it even prior to that. But that, as of 1984, they were already discussing it as an absolute fact.
Unless the United States is in a key position to shape this so that the problem of the Bush presidency will be the emergence of a new international order.
Within the next 4 years, we will see the emergence of a new international order.
The beginning of a new international order, and it could well be that this president, who is so reviled by intellectuals, will emerge as one of the seminal presidents of his period.
Let's assume
of American modern history.
One of the seminal presidents.
He could.
What does he have to do to achieve that status?
Well, he has to do certain things, and he has to have some luck.
Southern Tower, 10 o'clock Eastern Time this morning, just collapsing on itself. This is a place where thousands of people work. We have no idea what caused this. If you wish to bring anybody who's ever watched a building being demolished on purpose knows that if you're going to do this, you have to get at the under infrastructure of a building and bring it down.
There is a chance for the President of the United States to use this disaster to carry out what his father, a phrase his father used, I think, only once, and hasn't been used since, and that is a new world order.
Tonight, a proposal for an expanded so-called free trade zone from Alaska to the tip of South America. It's a plan from the business elites, the political elites, that will cost more American jobs, cost American sovereignty, but it would fulfill the president's father's vision. And people better understand that they mean exactly what they're saying. It's a new world order they're trying to create, and they're trying to do so not only without approval or consent of the governed in this country, but despite the popular will. This is a straightforward assault by the elitists in this country.
We will rally the world to this cause by our efforts by our courage. We will not tire, we will not falter, and we will not fail. This new law that I signed today will allow surveillance of all communications used by terrorists, including emails, the internet, and cell phones.
The answer is yes. It's a war we have to win if we're going to protect the people of this country. I think the real issue is, what do we sacrifice, what do we give up in the process? So there is going to be a continuing trade-off between security and liberty and freedom going forward in the 21st century.
But you get ready to hire somebody, you need to check against the federal database to make sure the numbers on the cards aren't forged or real. But what really Congress needs to do is to use a biometric technology to create a new tamper-proof identification card for every legal foreign worker. That's what we need. We need a tamper-proof card. So if you're here legally working, here's your card. You got to show it. And the business owner has got to call for it. If they hire somebody without the tamper-proof card, they're in violation of the law and will be fined.
We are going to control our borders a lot more effectively. We have a biometric card for all new guest workers. It's kind of impenetrable, right? So that we can make sure that no one's working here illegally, so employers know who to hire and not to hire.
Department of Homeland Security says the proposed biometric ID cards are only for temporary guest workers. But Mark Rotenberg, who heads the Electronic Privacy Information Center, predicts the cards will be widely distributed.
Any person who applies for a job in the United States will be required to have this card, because the employer won't be able to determine who are the citizens applying for the jobs, who are the legal immigrants applying for the job, who are the illegal immigrants. So for the system to work, you need a single worker eligibility card that covers everybody in the U.S.
Right. We propose that everybody, every American, citizen, legal immigrant, gets a non-forgeable employment card, a national employment card. It has a little chip in there that you can't forge that matches the retina of your eye. Now, every employer would have to swipe the card through a little machine like a credit card machine. When someone applied for a job, it would have their picture on it, of course.
Right.
And if the computer said they're a citizen,
I got it.
or they're
I got it,
illegal,
Senator. I got it. I think I got it.
But here's the other part. If the employer doesn't swipe the card or hires him anyway, first time, $50,000 fine. Right. Second time, jail.
The FBI is taking on $1 billion project to gather fingerprints, palm patterns, even digital pictures of faces. Eventually, it could expand to include iris patterns, face shape patterns, scars, even information about how you walk and talk. It's called biometrics.
More now of our special coverage here tonight, life in the U.S. in 10 years' time. By that time, there may be all kinds of new ways to safeguard and identify all those things that make each of us unique, our faces, even our fingerprints, even our eyes. Here now with more on the future of technology, NBC's Tom Costello.
The year is 2017. You're rushed to a hospital unconscious with no ID or medical history, but thanks to a microchip under your skin, it's all there. Science fiction 20 years ago, but a biometric reality today.
The technology is based on answering one simple question: am I who I say I am?
In early 2006, a number of employees of a video surveillance company called City Watchers in Cincinnati, Ohio, were implanted with microchips.
They make a small incision in your arm where the actual chip is then implanted subcutaneously under your skin.
Call the lady, have her type in, what is my IP?
CEO Sean Dark thought security at the company would be enhanced if its workers implanted the chips, which allow people to identify themselves by holding their arm in front of a scanner.
It's not Big Brother-ish because there's no information about you on the chip.
It's tied to a database within the company that says this person is allowed to come into the facility.
Scott Silverman is the CEO of Applied Digital, the owner of Verichip. The Delray Beach, Florida company develops, manufactures, and markets the chips, which are primarily used for animal tracking and medical patients who may need them in order to communicate with a doctor in an emergency situation.
The scanner powers up. wave it over the arm, pulls up the unique 16-digit identification number, and through a serial port that's at the bottom of the scanner, it goes to a computer or a laptop, where immediately my picture, my driver's license information, and my relevant medical records would pop up on the screen. Those that fear the big brother aspect, the government's going to make sure that everyone has one of these chips and they're going to be able to track your every move. There's no location technology in this whatsoever.
Around people saying, big brother, too much information, a little scary. How do you respond to that?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I used to get that question a lot 2 years ago. Today, we've gotten it a lot less. In fact, the Attorney General of Mexico and some of his staff have received this chip for security purposes. And when the acceptance rate of the product goes up significantly like it has, some of the privacy concerns go down. But to answer your question directly, Lester, what most people are concerned with is the invasiveness of this, that it goes in your body. And as we know with pacemakers and other medical devices, that when people accept it for its applications and for its ability, is when it'll work its way into society. It won't be tomorrow, it won't be next week, but 2, 3, 5 years from now, slowly but surely, it'll work its way into the mainstream.
Verichip, subsidiary of publicly traded Applied Digital, has added Tommy Thompson to its board of directors. The company hoping the former Health and Human Services Secretary can help accelerate the use of RFID for healthcare and security applications. Joining us to discuss the future of RFID and his plans for Verichip, Tommy Thompson, former Health and Human Services Secretary, and Scott Silverman, Chairman and CEO of Applied Digital. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you. It's an honor to be on your program.
Mr. Thompson, I'll start with you. We're doing a poll today. Would you have one of these things implanted in your arm or, I don't know, under your scalp or wherever you put it?
You put it in your right arm, and it's very small, and it doesn't bother you at all, but it certainly is going to allow you to identify who you are, protect your child. If you have a new child that's born in a nursery, you can protect that child from having somebody walk off on it. You can also protect your loved ones in a nursing home so that you can put a bracelet on and identify that individual and be able to find that individual if that person wanders away.
And I'm sorry, sir, did you just say you would get one implanted in your arm?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Does your company make the implantable chips for pets?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We do it for pets, we do it for livestock with the National Identification Program, and we do it for people.
Because it just occurs to, I mean, my kids are old enough to be able to be found, but it occurs to me I've got them in my dogs. Why wouldn't I have them in small children, too?
Applied Digital Solutions could track human beings by satellite. All right, we got the Van Dams, we got this little girl, Elizabeth Smart, we got this girl in Pennsylvania, we got Samantha Runyon, we got this other little girl, one after another, after another, after another, after another, and parents around America saying, we can't even allow our kids to play in the front yard. Is there anything, technologically speaking, that they can do that could help in a situation like a kidnapping? Is there, for example, a microchip, a watch, a tracking device we can use for our kids?
We are working on a product that we have called internally a PLD. PLD stands for Personal Locating Device, which is an implantable GPS for which our company owns a patent and can be implanted surgically in the clavicle area of a child or someone that you are interested in tracking. It is the first implantable microchip for humans that has multiple security, financial, and healthcare applications.
One thing I would just suggest, I'm just an outside, soon-to-be investor. I love this idea, by the way, Scott. I think this is great.
Thank you, Sean.
Put it in earrings, put it in a cross, make it smaller, maybe not implantable, and I think let parents choose. It's not the government, so I like it. But
we're currently working on those applications.
Good.
I hear music, so thank you for having me.
Give me a cut, Scott. No,
How would you, as a father of 3 children and a son in college, I'm captivated by the idea. How would you like to, as a parent, be able to look on your laptop and find out exactly where your children are if they had a chip implanted in them?
Like you do with
a GPS thing, like they do on the TV show 24.
Would you stick a chip in yourself?
For medical records?
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. But how do you update?
I have so much in my wallet, it would be good to be able to put it in my skin and be able to get some of this stuff out of my wallet.
But I've seen your wallet, and so you'd be walking around with something sticking up about that high.
What's next? At the University of Bath in England, researchers predict big changes for consumers.
I think it is possible to free us completely of our wallets and keys using biometric technology, if that's what people want in 10 years' time.
Paper or plastic?
You don't really need anything other than your hand, and you already got that with you.
We have a financial application called Veripay,
And what Veripay is, it is secondary means of authentication for credit card and ATM card use in an attempt to help prevent identity theft. So if you're in a Walmart today and you buy $100 worth of merchandise and you go through with the barcode or RFID scanning as it may be, they pull up the $100 worth of merchandise. I can give them your card, Pat, and 999 times out of 1,000, I'm going to walk out of there with a forged signature with $1,000 worth, or $100, excuse me, worth of merchandise. With Verichip, as it becomes standard protocol for banking institutions and credit card companies to use Verichip as a secondary means of authentication, the same scanner that barcodes or RFIDs your merchandise will then be waved over your arm within a 2 to 3 foot radius and actually verify that you are who you say you are. Very important in the biggest growing crime world in the world right now, which is the identity theft.
Excuse me, sir. Forgot your receipt.
Checkout lines. Who needs them? This is the future of e-business.
Have a nice day.
The future of surveillance is hiding in plain sight at the Baja Beach Club in Rotterdam, Holland. This may look like a regular party, but it's no normal club. The Baja has an elite group of special VIPs who are different from other clients. They need no identification and no cash to buy drinks or food. To enter the club, all they have to do is offer up an arm to a scanner. And tonight, 21-year-old Ryoni Schutten will be joining the in crowd. And now it's time to party. Although others have to pay cash at the entrance, when Ryoni arrives, his name and number instantly identify him as a VIP member of the club. He makes his way to the VIP deck and uses his implant to buy a drink. The Baja is a glimpse of a not-so-distant future.
Something has to change, though. They have to find a better way to identify the bad guys, or the rest of us are going to stay home and watch the world go by on television. But we need some system for permanently identifying safe people. Most of us are never going to blow anything up, and there's got to be something better than one of these photo IDs, a tattoo somewhere maybe. The Saudis used an American device to scan the eyes of travelers. I wouldn't mind having something planted permanently in my arm that would identify me. If we don't do something, people are going to stop flying. If they stop flying, and I don't go to the Giants games, it means the bastards have won.
All technologies start in a neutral way, and all technologies grow in their power. The humble chip is going to be 1,000,000 times more powerful, 1,000,000 times more capable in 20 years. So when you allow it to be embedded in your environment and even under your skin, you'd better be prepared for it to be a completely different beast in a few years' time. A completely different beast in a few years' time.
What I may call the message is a brave new world, that it is possible to make people contented with their servitude. I think this can be done. I think it has been done in the past, but I think it could be done even more effectively now, because you can provide them with bread and circuses, and you can provide them with endless amounts of distractions and propaganda.
In my line of work, you got to keep repeating things over and over and over again for the truth to sink in, to kind of catapult the propaganda.
Your living room is the factory. The product being manufactured is you.
And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.